So, on to part two. So, this transgender barista who is also white, so benefiting from white privilege, working at Starbucks, an elite fast food chain. You know, it's not a Wingstop, it's not a what? Burger King, it's not a Sonic's, it's not some place known for roaches crawling around. It's very prestigious and pretty looking. And I know when I wanted to start working at, I'd say 18, I wanted to go to Dunkin' Donuts. And to me, you know, a place like Dunkin' Donuts, it looks so good to work there. Like it'd be fun. And I put in 2 applications because I really wanted the job and I did not get a call back. And so, yeah, that's what happened. And I'm sad about that, but not really because fast food is horrible and I didn't know that at the time. And so people are like telling this guy to suck it up. You're sitting here crying while other people have to go out working. And it's like, I've had fast food jobs, and these people say, I worked in the service industry. Like, you don't say what job you had, but you say it was serving customers. Okay. And they never saw a coworker crying. They never saw anyone stressed out from their work. They never saw customers cussing people out for no reason. And people are like, oh, you should stand there and take it. But it's like, no, you're underpaid at your job. And then that customer is being underpaid, most likely at their job. And so they have this anger and hurt and pain. And then you guys will clash, basically. It's not going to be a good ending. And we shouldn't be arguing really with each other or expecting to argue and fight with people on a job. Like, how hard is it to just say, you know what, this customer is abusive to our workers and we're not going to serve them? Like, just because you're a customer at the fucking drive-through, bitch, we're in a rush. If you're rude to me, then you can just drive on someplace else. Like, we do not need your money that bad. So I think workers shouldn't have to deal with crappy customers that mess up their mental health. And so I wanted to talk about neurodivergent. So that means that your mind is not neurotypical. Your mind does not operate in the same way as a neurotypical person would, which is, oh, if you like explain something once to someone, they're going to get it, or something like along those lines. A lot of people think that ADHD isn't real. People think depression isn't real, anxiety isn't real. And honestly, they don't care. People don't care if you have a diagnosis from a doctor. They'll say that's some bullshit and people are making up problems because I have that same disability, but I was beaten for it and I worked through it, basically. You know, whoopings will solve that disability right quick. And yeah, I don't really think it matters if I explain what neurodivergent is. Okay, so I saw a picture and it's explaining neurodivergence. It's on neurodivergence.card.co, CARRD. So with neurodiversity, you could have creativity, hyper focus, different observational skills and cognitive control. There's different concentration, fine detail processing, verbal skills, empathy, intuition, intuitive thinking, visual thinking, adaptability. So there's something called ASC, dyspraxia, dyscalculia, dyslexia, and ADHD, Tourette syndrome. And we know, like, we've heard of these things before. And all I could say is people are different, and being neurodivergent is different for everyone. And it can make life harder, especially when you're trying to work a job, especially when you're having lots of orders come in and people are yelling at you. And people say, oh, well, you can't handle the stress. That's your problem. But this person is also a student, and students do need more time for school and to study because, again, their school education is going to make them more money in the future. Their school education is their main passion usually. So of course you should be able to pursue your education. And people are like, 8 hours isn't that long, when really we can have a 6 hour work week or a 4 hour work week. We do not need to work so hard in our society. We have evolved so much to the point we should be working less hours and get paid more money. And there's a great book about this that's not even a book, it's an essay. It's like a short little essay in comparison to a book. And it's called In Praise of Idleness by Bertrand Russell. And a lot of people have not read this thing. So, yeah, if you haven't read it, then, but you think you're smart enough to talk about this subject, but you haven't read that, yeah, don't talk about it. And I wanted to touch on, here are some symptoms of ADHD. And these are like the overactive ADHD. Technically, there's 3 types of ADHD. One is like where you are very hyper and talkative. Another is where you're actually very quiet and withdrawn. And then there's like another one. So this ADHD, you can be easily distracted, talk out of turn, have trouble following through, have difficulty staying on task, and can seem unable to play quietly, talking excessively, not really listening, interrupting people, being disorganized, always losing your assignments, pencils, and toys, and then you're not aware of consequences, which actually is how people are when they have ADHD. That's the thing. This can describe so many people because a lot of people in America are living with an undiagnosed disability, and some people show their symptoms and we start hating them for it, beating them for it at a young age, punishing them.